Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Women of Achievement Awards presented by the Flora Stone Mather Center for Women. As University President, I am honored to be a part of today's celebration. I believe, as I know you do, that there is no formula for excellence that does not include diversity. Cultivating a campus community that is welcoming, diverse, and inclusive, and that celebrates our identities and perspectives makes us stronger. Today's awards recognize the exceptional scholarship and research of our women faculty and the outstanding achievements by women staff and students. At this ceremony, we will honor 6 2021 Mather Spotlight Prize winners. The Mather Spotlight Award recognizes the achievements of 2 faculty members, 2 staff members, 1 graduate or professional student, and 1 undergraduate student, all women. The winners are selected for their outstanding professional accomplishments, leadership, and service. And they all have had a significant positive impact on our university and campus community. Today, we also honor the Notable Woman of the Year, presented to someone who has provided guidance, support, and visibility to the Mather Center. I want to congratulate all of our award winners on this accomplishment, and I want to thank each of you for making our campus community a better, more welcoming, and a more inclusive place. And thank you to the Mather Spotlight Series Endowment for their long time and continued support of this event. And now, I would like to welcome the director of the Mather Center, Dr. Angela Clark-Taylor. Dr. Clark-Taylor is a scholar practitioner with 15 years of experience in community agencies and higher education. She works to provide resources and support to the higher education and local communities, and she is driven by her desire to empower women and to create a society that is committed to gender equity. In addition to her work here at Case Western Reserve, Dr. Clark-Taylor also serves on the National Women's Studies Associate Executive Board, and she is a board member of the NASPA Journal about women and gender in higher education.
Thank you for your kind introduction, President Kaler, and for joining the Mather Center to honor our 6 Spotlight winners and Notable Woman of the Year. We are so grateful for your leadership. I would like to thank the nominators, prize committee, Mather Center Community Advisory Board, center staff, Erica Howard and Rachel Stegman, but most of all, our Assistant Director of Programs, Anastasia Martinez, whose leadership and dedication made this event possible. The honorees you will learn about shortly, who we honor as the 2021 Women of Achievement, are all women-aligned individuals whose outstanding professional accomplishments, leadership, and service have had a significant positive impact on the university and campus community. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, the first Latina to hold the position, noted, "Until we get equality in education, we won't have an equal society." Though higher education has seen much social change in support of all genders having full access to the intellectual life of the academy, we know that there are still many barriers for women, trans, and non-binary communities. Gender equity in education is delayed and derailed by a lack of opportunity, role models, access to mental health services, access to child and elder care, as well as pay inequity, power-based personal violence, and pervasive gendered, race, class, and ableist stereotypes that create a chilly climate on campuses across the country. If we hope to see continued change in higher education and at Case Western Reserve University, we must be able to see where we are if we want to know how far we have come and how far we need to go. It is for this reason the Mather Center will release the first annual Status of Gender Equity Report, downloadable from our website this evening. This annual report will use institutional data to track the university's progress in reaching gender equity for faculty, staff, and students. I want to thank the For a Better CWRU Task Force leaders, Vice Presidents Lou Stark and Robert Solomon, as well as the Student Gender Equity Subcommittee leaders Joelle Scott and Ellie Martin Elston, for your work that led to this report. I would also like to thank Mather postdoctoral scholar Dr. Andrea Hauser for your work on compiling and analyzing the data for this project with the support of Eddie Bolton and Corinne Reynolds in institutional research. As we examined the institutional data, we looked at our leadership, faculty, staff, and students by gender and their intersecting identities of race and ethnicity. Additional data on LGBTQ+ identities, ability, disaggregating Asian identities, and other identities such as religion would help us more deeply examine the full diversity of and possibility for gender equity in our campus community. Currently, 41% of executive leadership are women, with 5% of executive leaders being women of color. 52% of our deans, including assistant and associate deans, are women, 9% of which are women of color. There are no Latinx or Hispanic women at this level of leadership. In most need of cultivating inclusion of women's leadership through internal promotion is leadership in our academic departments, with only 19% of department chairs being women. 4% of department chairs are women of color, and none are Black women. 31% of our tenure-track faculty are women, while 42% of our non-tenure-track faculty are women. White women, women of color, and men of color are more likely to be in non-tenure-track roles where we currently do not benchmark areas such as salary equity. Even in the schools where women are overrepresented, such as the School of Nursing or the Mandel School of Applied Social Science, women are more likely to be in non-tenure-track roles. 60% of our university staff are women. Women are overrepresented in support roles at 90%. In addition, 46% of our support staff roles are held by Black women. Only 2% of all staff roles are held by Latinx or Hispanic women. Native American women on our staff are represented by just 2 women. Support staff roles tend to be non-exempt and have less job mobility. While the national average of women-aligned students has risen to 57% nationwide for undergraduates and 58.5% for graduate students, 47% of CWRU undergraduate students and 55% of graduate students are women. One might speculate that in an elite research and STEM-focused school, women in these areas may still face barriers to joining our community. Though I focused on comparisons here with student demographics, my recommendation is we do not worry as much about comparisons and focus on expanding our recruitment and retention efforts, with our primary focus being on the experiences of women, students, faculty, and staff, as well as all marginalized gender identities we have here on campus. In response to Pathway 3, Achieving Social Impact, and Pathway 4, Shaping the Agora, of our Think Big strategic plan, we are focusing at the Mather Center on using research and evaluation, professional and leadership development, education and advocacy, and community engagement as strategies of reaching our goal of leading, empowering, and innovating to create a shared culture of support for gender equity at the university and to establish the Mather Center as an expert resource for women and gender equity in higher education. 133 years ago, when the College of Women opened, I doubt its future namesake, Flora Mather, ever could have imagined all the possibilities available to women today at Case Western Reserve and beyond. As the Mather Center approaches its 20th anniversary, I encourage you to join us in our work. In the wise advice of the civil rights leader Grace Lee Boggs, we can begin by doing small things. That is how change takes place in living systems, not from above, but from within, from many local actions occurring simultaneously. If you have any idea to advance this work, we would be thrilled to help you bring it to fruition. If you were not mentioned here today and are working on gender equity and intersectional issues, let the Mather Center lift up and share your work. You will find on our website, with a copy of this speech and gender equity report, a Qualtrics form to share your initiatives with us. Working together is the only way we will be able to move the needle on gender equity. Despite what we still need to overcome, the women who we honor today remind us that there is hope. Toni Morrison once said, "I tell my students when they get these jobs they have been so brilliantly trained for, just remember that your real job is that you are free and you need to free somebody else. If you have some power, then your job is to empower somebody else." This year's Women of Achievement honorees embody this sentiment by not only their success as scholars, educators, and innovators, but by lifting as they climb and supporting other women along the way. We are together today to celebrate these women who inspire us with their accomplishments and leadership to believe that gender equity is not beyond the possible. I'm happy to introduce Dr. Jennifer Carter, a faculty recipient of the Mather Spotlight Award. She is an associate professor in the Materials Science and Engineering Department at the Case Western Reserve University School of Engineering and the faculty director of Swagelok Center for Surface Analysis of Materials. Dr. Carter is being honored with this award because of her dedication to academic and research pursuits, as well as her mentorship of others, particularly undergraduate and graduate women. Dr. Carter's teaching and mentoring focuses on encouraging new engineers to work and thrive by embracing their whole selves. Please listen in for additional remarks about Dr. Carter and her accomplishments.
Good afternoon. I'm Claire Rimnack. I'm a professor in mechanical and aerospace engineering here at CASE, and it was my joy and my pleasure to nominate Professor Jennifer Carter for the Mather Spotlight Award. I first met Jennifer in 2012 when she was interviewing for her faculty position in material science and engineering. Virtually from my first conversations with Jennifer, I knew that she was not only going to be an outstanding addition to the Case School of Engineering as a scholar and researcher, she was also going to be one of our leaders. One of the key reasons that I nominated Professor Carter is because of her leadership in assuming the role of faculty director of the Swagelok Center for Surface Analysis of Materials earlier this year. The Swagelok Center is an absolutely essential interdisciplinary research facility on campus and is available for any investigator who relies on tools such as electron microscopy to characterize and conduct surface analysis of materials and structures. On a more personal note, Jennifer and I have had some fabulous mutual mentoring and research meetings while walking together either outdoors or indoors on the Veal Fieldhouse track. We even took virtual walks together during the COVID shutdown. One of my favorite memories is walking on the Veal track together with one of Jennifer's baby daughters strapped to her back, something that would not have been possible when I was at the same career stage as Jennifer. We've also just had a lot of fun getting to know more about each other. For example, you may be interested to know that not only is Jennifer an outstanding engineer, she has also ridden a motorcycle since she was 7. And Jennifer and her husband are also quite the urban farmers, raising chickens and keeping a beehive, among other things. All this while raising 2 young daughters, maintaining a robust research program, and directing an essential university research facility. Jennifer, you are a dear colleague, a valued scholar, a university leader, and an advocate for diversity and inclusion. I'm so very glad that you're being honored today with the Mather Spotlight Award. Congratulations.
Professor Jennifer Carter is a tremendously accomplished engineering professor and a supporter of women at every level. Her notable professional achievements include being the first woman ever to achieve tenure in the Case Western Reserve University Department of Materials Science and Engineering. The department is over a century old, significantly older than Crewe itself. The year prior to achieving tenure, she received the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers, the highest honor the U.S. government awards early career researchers. Jennifer's professional superpower is the ability to be excellent in the discipline in which she trained while branching out and exploring new research pathways. Jennifer, we very much appreciate how you are essential to other women, myself included, in achieving our own potential. Thank you.
As an outstanding teacher, mentor, and researcher, Professor Jennifer Carter exemplifies the very best of the Case School of Engineering. Professor Carter's accomplishments are numerous and diverse. She's the first female tenured professor ever in the Materials Science and Engineering department at Case Western Reserve University. The department is over a century old, one of the original 6 departments that made up what was then known as the Case School of Applied Science. Professor Carter is both a trailblazer and an exemplar in her field. Professor Carter is one of the Case School of Engineering's most accomplished faculty members and is a thought leader in her discipline with respect to both academic and research contributions. Her work advances our fundamental understanding of material science and engineering, while also branching out and exploring new research pathways. From technical art history to thin film solar cells to materials for dentistry, Dr. Carter is fearless in her pursuit of innovation. The changes that have occurred early in Dr. Carter's leadership role have already reinvigorated the center and have generated palpable excitement among faculty within CSC. She is endlessly encouraging to the research pursuits of others and is an engaged collaborator. One of her pending proposals with the NSF is education-oriented and is entitled Transforming Traditional Engineers. Professor Carter goes above and beyond to mentor her student advisees and has demonstrated deep care and commitment in all of her interactions. The Case School of Engineering is profoundly lucky to include Professor Jennifer Carter among its faculty ranks. Professor Carter, congratulations on being recognized as one of this year's Women of Achievement. You deserve every moment of praise for your outstanding contributions to the Case School of Engineering and to the field of material science and engineering, and for all you do to elevate the community around you. Again, congratulations.
Today, it is my great honor to accept the nomination for the Mather Spotlight Award for faculty. And I would like to thank the women who have come before me and the women who will come after me. Thank you. This recognition reminds me that we have come so far, and yet there is still value in visible and accessible role models for women and marginalized groups in STEM. It wasn't until much later in my career that I realized that not everyone had a mentor to reflect themselves into. My mother, an electrical engineer from Mississippi State, graduated in 1979, was one of only a handful of women to graduate as engineers from that institution, and even fewer that went on to have it all. She showed me that you could work for the things that you want, and you make time for the things that you need, if you surround yourself with allies, like my father, that make it all possible. This recognition means that there is value in bringing my whole self to work, especially when that is messy, because it allows the next generation of engineers to see the challenges, the difficulties, and the triumphs associated with doing hard things that we love to do. I am a proud member of a small community of women who are first in my department. During my journey as the first woman tenure-track faculty in my department's long history, I have had the pleasure of learning from Jenny Wang, the first PhD graduate, and Diana Essek, the first woman BS graduate from the materials department. The first woman master's graduate in our department was Edith Charkoff in 1928. When you are accidentally the first, you don't start out by planning on making history because you are too busy trying to survive the experience. The things I am proudest about are the opportunities that I have had to use the privilege of tenure and tenure track to support the staff that make the university work for the students. And of course, supporting the students. For example, as the academic advisor for the Case Western Reserve University softball team, I was able to travel with them for spring training in 2020 and support the students during that time when normal operations ceased as the weight of the pandemic started. But really, the most accomplished, memorable moments are the quiet ones, where I get to impact the career trajectories of individual students, like helping Jessica write her DOE fellowship proposal, or convincing Gwen that she was more than qualified to pursue graduate school if that's what she wanted, or being there in the dark moments for Steph when she needed someone to convince her that she is amazing. These are the moments that I have saved on my wall and keep me going. The Mather Center and their staff have been a valuable outside perspective in my leadership journey. When I started at Case, I was assigned a variety of professional mentors, particularly Susan Friedmark. She helped me appreciate that the needs of the institution are not always aligned with my own personal needs and goals, and reminded me of the value of thinking about situations from different perspectives. We are all at the institution for our own career gains and are worried about different aspects of efficiently providing a learning environment for the students that come to campus. Therefore, we see value in different things because our worries are different. It doesn't make them bad or good, just useful differences so that nothing moves too far from the overall goal of becoming and educating the next generation of thought leaders.
I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Damaris Puñales Alpizar, a faculty recipient of the Mather Spotlight Award, who is an associate professor of Hispanic Studies and chair of the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures. Dr. Puñales Alpizar is being honored with this award because of her personal and professional commitment to empower the women around her. At CWRU, she has worked on issues related to inclusion, diversity, and social justice, and seeks to be a bridge between the university and the community around us. Please listen in for further remarks about Dr. Puñales Alpizar and her endeavors.
When I think about Damaris, I think about the contribution that she has done or some of the contributions that she's done for Case Western Reserve University. She is dedicated to improving, advancing the recruitment, the retention of the Hispanic community and the Latinx community. She has been an advocate not only for faculty, but also for students. And her passion lies in seeing the success and seeing students achieve. Some of the work that we've actually done together, I think that I have seen her commitment to diversity and inclusion, her commitment to women more specifically, and seeing women achieve is the committees that we've served together on. And so being part of faculty senate committees, as well as working closely with her for Hispanic Awareness Month, and seeing the things that she's done and the dedication that she's put into programming and initiatives to make sure that women, faculty, staff, students on our campus, especially when we're talking about our Hispanic population, are served and have a support system and resources. And so it has been a pleasure to work with her. The personality that she has is it's one of those gentle giants, one of those individuals that just a nice person to work with, but also committed and dedicated to seeing the achievement and seeing the success of her students.
As the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, I interact with many remarkable women each and every day. It's a great pleasure of the job that I do. Today, I want to recognize and congratulate one particularly incredible colleague of mine, Damaris Puñales Alpizar. Damaris is an advocate for all people, dedicating her work to inclusion, diversity, and social justice from a gender, multicultural, and global perspective. She brings all of these amazing pieces to her many leadership roles across the university. First, as department chair in the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures in the College of Arts and Sciences, but also through her work as executive sponsor of Latinx Alianza Latina Latin Alliance, a member of the Diversity Leadership Council, Faculty Senate Committee for Minority Affairs, and the steering committee of both the International Studies Program and the Ethnic Studies Program. Her work spans much further than just the confines of this campus, working with the Cleveland Foundation to promote Hispanic culture and volunteering for OLA, an organization that helps to improve conditions for undocumented immigrants of Hispanic origins. Damaris truly embodies the work that she so passionately pursues, and she is greatly deserving of the Mather Spotlight Awards. I am very pleased to congratulate her on this amazing achievement.
Hi, my name is Damaris Puñales Alpizar, and I am an associate professor of Hispanic Studies. I am also the chair of the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures and the executive sponsor for Alianza Latina Latin Alliance. I am honored to have been selected as one of the Women of Achievement by the Flora Center for Women at Case Western Reserve University to receive the Mather Spotlight Award, and I thank the Center for this honor and for the opportunity to address our university community. I've been thinking a lot about what to say here today, because this speech is not only about me, but mainly about all Hispanic and Latinx women at the university. My struggles, my journey are, up to a certain degree, the struggles and the journey of many of my fellow Hispanic people on one hand, and that of all women on the other. If being part of a minority is hard, belonging to more than one minority group is even a harder position. I'm not only a woman, which already puts me in a social and professional disadvantage, but I am an immigrant Latino woman. These two coordinates automatically add multiple social stressors to every aspect of my life. I, as most women in general, but Hispanic and Latinx women in particular, have to work harder, to try more, to prove myself not only more than any man, but also more than any other white woman. Therefore, I know firsthand what it means to try to compete from a position of disadvantage, and that is why my professional and personal commitment is to empower all women around me. I do believe that women helping women is one of the most effective ways of gaining visibility, recognition, and finally, equity and social justice for all women, not only for a few. It has been a long journey since I crossed the border between Mexico and the United States about a decade and a half ago, with my mom on one hand and my then 3-year-old daughter on the other, and no more than $20 in my pocket. I'm aware that my immigration story is very different to that of many Latin American people who work at this university, and also different to that of people who also cross the border to come to this country looking for a way of surviving poverty, wars, or violence. After coming to the United States, I was fortunate enough to complete a PhD program and then to get hired by this university. I know that many of my fellow Latin American people don't get such a wonderful opportunity. But I think that the bottom line here is that we are part of the fabric of this society, no matter where we are or what we do. We, immigrants from every corner of the world, contribute to the betterment of this nation. However, some of us, people of color, Latinx, women in general, have a harder time to get any kind of recognition or appreciation for the work that we do. That is why getting this award is so important for me. Somehow, it means that we are getting visible, and my only hope is that we, as part of the labor and intellectual force of this university, can catch up with the increasing number of our Hispanic student population. In the about 11 years that I have been at CWRU, I have seen important developments in terms of inclusion and diversity. And my main commitment is to contribute to that positive change as much as possible. Finally, I want to give special thanks to my family. I have an inspirational force by me every day, my mom, who's the strongest and wisest woman that I have ever known. I have a wonderful family, 2 intelligent and kind daughters who are my power and motivation, and a husband who inspires me to do better and to do more every day. Also, I want to thank all women out there who supports me and motivates me, from my wonderful group in Alianza Latina Latin Alliance to the colleagues in my department and college, to all women friends in every corner of this planet who make me love and enjoy life. Thanks. We are in this together, and together we are stronger.
I am pleased to introduce Michelle Corcoran, a staff recipient of the Mather Spotlight Award, who is a department administrator in sociology. Michelle is being honored with this award because of her willingness to help others. She's a supporter of students, staff, and faculty, and is ready to jump in at any moment with a positive attitude and dedication to her work. Please listen in for more remarks about Michelle and her successes.
I nominated Michelle Corcoran for the Mather Spotlight Award because she is worthy of recognition due to her dedication to the university, incredible character, and integrity for helping others any way she can. As the department administrator for the Department of Anthropology, my department, as well as Michelle's and Corey's, we all work in the same building. I have worked with Michelle for the last 5 years in my role in anthropology. However, both of us are long-term employees of the university. Michelle, I believe, is at the university for 22 years. I have also worked with Michelle previously when I worked in a different department on campus for graduate student-related award funding programs. So we communicated together between our areas on behalf of our grad students. We share a lot of the same responsibilities between our roles with our respective departments as well. Personally, in the 18 years I know Michelle, she has always lent a hand to anyone that needs assistance. When I started in anthropology, it was helpful to reach out to the other DAs in Mather, Michelle and Corey, when I needed assistance, especially with parts of the job I was unfamiliar with. These ladies both go over and above to help when asked. In the challenges of the coronavirus pandemic, when we all worked remotely, if I needed assistance for work-related item that I am responsible for, I could reach out to Michelle. Our job descriptions are similar as department admins, so having a go-to person as a backup, such as Michelle, has always been helpful. Michelle is a key person that I know her colleagues in sociology will agree is a major influence in assisting her faculty, staff, and students. She is a wealth of knowledge and not afraid to ask questions and seek answers. Sometimes she asks the difficult questions that others are unsure or perhaps not as courageous to ask, and I respect that quality in her as an empowering woman who seeks fairness, diversity, and respect for all on campus. It is my honor and privilege to nominate such a dedicated, intelligent, indispensable, and strong colleague for recognition of the Women of Achievement Mather Spotlight Award.
If there was one thing I noticed about Case Western Reserve when I started here, it was that the people who worked here were passionate about what they did and loyal to the mission of the university. For over 22 years, Michelle Corcoran has been one of those people. Serving as the Department of Sociology's department administrator, Michelle is the one with all of the answers for sociology faculty, and her colleagues express that she was always willing to lend a helping hand with a beaming, positive attitude. Her continued commitment to both her department and the college at large is very much respected and appreciated, and I am overjoyed to congratulate her on being one of this year's recipients of the Mather Spotlight Award at the Women of Achievement Awards.
I struggled a bit when I initially found out about this award. I have never considered myself a leader, but more of a doer. It's been through some soul-searching and conversation with people after they heard about the Mather Spotlight Award that I'm beginning to understand that the two are not mutually exclusive and are instead a very common and effective form of female leadership. While I wouldn't say this holds true for just me or only female leaders in general, I do think that showing compassion and support to the people around me while also doing whatever I can behind the scenes to ensure that they succeed is a hallmark of my leadership style. Actually, after the news of my award had been shared with my department by a colleague, as I had intended to keep it quiet, not being a fan of the spotlight personally, I received many congratulatory emails telling me that this was well-deserved and it was long past time that I was recognized for all that I do. However, one email stuck out, and I'd like to share those comments with you. I want to take time and express my profound gratitude to you during my 5-year journey in this program. You were always so helpful, kind, willing to investigate the issues and answer my numerous questions, solve my silly crises. It means so much to me, and these are not just polite words and compliments. In all my previous programs in the U.S., total of 4, there was no person like you. Graduate school feels like a very isolating, cutting-throat, solitary, dull journey, but having you an email away or a short walk to Mather away is priceless. This student had just been in my office a few days before, and I had walked her through the various administrative steps and checkboxes she would need to take care of as she prepared to defend her prospectus. As you know, a PhD program, while self-directed in many ways, can also be overwhelming in the processes and timing, especially when you are trying to coordinate a cadre of busy faculty members and ensure that they focus for however brief time on your work so that you can keep moving ahead. I have been at CWRU in this very department for more than 20 years. All this time, I have made it a point to be aware of the people around me, not just those I see on a daily basis, but admins in other departments and staff throughout the college and university as well, watching them grow, caring about their well-being, empowering them whenever I could, while behind the scenes checking in when possible to try to better help them succeed and shine. I don't just know my value, but I also know my values. I am constantly checking to make sure that what I and the people around me are doing align with university expectations. I won't hesitate to question things that seem outside of those boundaries, which isn't always appreciated by those, quote, above me. But I also feel it's important to ask those questions, especially in a place where people can be silenced by such a stratified system. This doesn't always lead to change, actually it rarely does, but knowing I took the time to ask the question or point out my concern gratifies me to know that somewhere in the process, my voice was heard. I do appreciate what CWRU has given me as well. I was able to earn my MBA through the university tuition benefit, and my daughter is currently flourishing in her 2nd year at a program that she's able to attend thanks to the tuition exchange program. There are a lot of kinds of leadership, and mine is a much quieter type that doesn't always get recognized, and I appreciate that this award gives some visibility to women whose background work doesn't always get appreciated. Thank you.
I am so glad to introduce Daniela Solomon, a staff recipient of the Mather Spotlight Award, who is an academic librarian specialized in engineering disciplines at the Kelvin Smith Library. Daniela is being honored with this award because of her commitment to encouraging promising women in the sciences. She engages the campus community with innovative programming and events and is a highly regarded engineering librarian on a national scale. Please listen in for additional remarks about Daniela and her accomplishments.
I'd like to thank the Mather Center for recognizing Daniela by giving her the Mather Spotlight Award this year. I think she's truly deserving of this honor. Her work and professionalism and also her collegiality all really speak to the way that she deserves this award. Daniela has made a great impact at the national level in her field. She was recently elected by her peers to chair the Engineering Libraries Division of the American Society of Engineering Education. And so I think that's a great honor and really testament to her leadership in the field of engineering librarianship. Thank you for giving her this honor and recognizing all of the great work that she's done. And congrats to Daniela for your achievements and for the Mather Spotlight Award.
I first met Daniela through our shared Women's Staff Leadership Development Institute cohort. Over the course of a year, I got to know her well. There is great depth, thoughtfulness, and intelligence to Daniela, and she puts these things to work in all that she does, whether at the Kelvin Smith Library, with her colleagues, or while a member of the Wasildi cohort. She is ready with a smile, she listens intently, and has an authenticity about helping others. During our many cohort sessions, she consistently gave compassionate feedback to those of us seeking it, and we trusted her. I am so happy to see her smiling face when crossing campus and to call her a trusted colleague here. Congratulations to you, Daniela.
This award represents a very big achievement for my professional career for two reasons. One, it is a recognition for my work, and it's nice to feel appreciated. But it also, on a personal level, it means that I succeeded as an immigrant, and that makes me really proud. As a participant in Wasildi program, from which I graduated in 2018, I learned that leadership is not connected to a formal position, not necessarily. And that gave me great confidence to improve myself and try to become a better leader from my own position, even though I don't have a title. I'm not a manager, but I still think I am of myself as a leader. As a librarian, I'm always willing to help and looking for ways to help students achieve their goals. I do think it was a great match for me to be here, and I hope the library thinks the same about me, and probably this award proves that it was a good match. I love working here. I love my department. My undergraduate degree is in engineering, and I felt firsthand what it means to work as a woman in a male-dominated profession. And somehow that contributed me leaving the engineering profession. So as an engineering librarian, I am really looking forward to help girls become engineers and stay in the profession. And I want them to have all the tools they need and the support they need. When School of Engineering initiated a new program, Women in Tech Initiative, I want to thank the award committee for selecting me for this award. As I said, it's a big honor, and it's deeply moving me. But I was not doing this alone. I had a lot of help and support along the way. And from Kelvin Smith Library, I would like to thank my supervisor for her faith in me and for nominating me. I also want to thank the KSL administration for their support and letting me go with my ideas. And I would like to thank my colleagues because they did accept to collaborate with me on this project. They offered their advice and friendship. So thank you very much for this award. I'm really honored to receive it.
I am thrilled to introduce Jessica Sally Riccardi, a graduate student recipient of the Mather Spotlight Award, who is a Crew doctoral candidate in Communication Sciences in the Department of Psychological Sciences. Jessica is being honored for this award because of her enthusiasm for academic scholarship and her mentorship of women to encourage their development as independent clinician researchers. She serves as a board member of the Psychological Sciences Graduate Student Organization and has held leadership positions for WISHT, an organization for women in science and humanities earning doctorates. Please listen in for more remarks about Jessica and her successes.
I nominated Jessica for the Mather Spotlight Award because truly Jess is one of the most selfless people I know. She works hard in her own personal endeavors, but I believe that Jess has touched every person that she works with personally. She makes it one of her biggest goals to make sure that as much as she succeeds, other people are succeeding as well. I don't think I've met anybody who has met Jess who hasn't benefited from her being in their life. She always works to make sure others are reaching their fullest potential as she is reaching her fullest potential as well. I know I personally wouldn't be where I am without Jess. She is one of my biggest mentors and greatest friends as well. We started at Case the same year. She started as a PhD student and I started as a master's student. And we have continued on our trajectory at Case Western together, her being a year ahead of me as a PhD student and always serving as a mentor and somebody who encouraged me in my own sort of trajectory to go for my PhD. Being in the field of speech-language pathology, we are comprised of mostly women, so Jess is always uplifting those around her, whether it's through students that she's teaching or people such as me who are PhD students that she is mentoring, or truly anybody in her life. She serves on a lot of different committees at Case Western Reserve University that are specific to helping women and uplifting women, and I think that's one of Jess's main goals in life is to uplift other people, namely women. And she just always is working to encourage others and help them as much as they need help. Jess, I just wanted to give a big congratulations to you for this award. You fully deserve it, and I think you have so many wonderful accomplishments. I'm really glad that this award can encompass, hopefully, even a little bit of all it is that you have accomplished.
As a dean and faculty member, it is one of the greatest pleasures of my job to recognize our students for their outstanding achievements. Jessica Sally Riccardi, a PhD student in the Department of Psychological Sciences, is a true example of everything the Mather Spotlight Award stands for. As a licensed speech-language pathologist, Jessica has continued to practice throughout the PhD program at the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center. In the midst of researching and working, she still finds the time to mentor both undergraduate and graduate students in the field. Additionally, she serves as the president of WISHT, Women in Science and Humanities Earning Doctorates, connecting women doctoral students with each other as well as with helpful resources. She is also a policy research assistant for the Schubert Center for Child Studies. It is a great honor to congratulate Jessica for her superb work over the last 3 years at Case Western Reserve University. It is a true privilege to have her in the college. She is a remarkable role model for all of the students she mentors, as well as those who had the chance to know her and her work. I wish her congratulations for receiving the Mather Spotlight Award at this year's Women of Achievement Awards.
Prior to coming to Case Western, I was always interested in earning a PhD, and I was working as a clinical speech-language pathologist. I was able to contact Dr. Angela Chicha and was invited to come here as a doctoral student under her supervision. I've enjoyed everything about Case, and truly moving to the Midwest is an adventure in and of itself, but Cleveland and Case Western has provided a great space for learning and development. And I'm planning on graduating in May and will truly miss the opportunities that I've had here. My research at CASE focuses on childhood brain injury, and so some of the research accomplishments I'm most proud of is simply the productivity that I've been able to achieve while I was a doc student here. And over the past 3 years, I've been involved in many of the Women's Center's initiatives, including the Women in Science and Humanities Earning Doctorate Student Group. I served on the board for 2 years, and not only was I able to see some of the needs of women at CASE, I was prepared as a leader from the Women's Center. They established meetings with us and really grew our leadership team as a group of women doctoral students. Without them, some of my research would truly not be possible given some of the funds I've received. But additionally, my time at CASE would not have been anywhere near as productive or enjoyable, growing me as a researcher and as a leader. During my time as president of WISH, Women in Science and Humanities Earning Doctorates, our student group received Graduate Student Group of the Year award from the university. Again, this was not only a time that I felt proud of our group and what we've accomplished, but was able to take a step back and recognize that it takes a true team. Some of those team members are from the Women's Center, but additionally, our team members were the people supporting us on the side. Not only our other board members and our group members, but other people throughout the university that were able to provide support one way or another during a very crazy pandemic-related year and continue to support the women doctoral students that are on campus. I'm incredibly honored to be accepting the Spotlight Award from the Flora Stone Mather Center for Women this year. I know that CASE is filled with successful, distinguished, and accomplished women, and it's an absolute honor to be included amongst that group.
I'm excited to introduce Joy Mason, an undergraduate student recipient of the Mather Spotlight Award, who is studying business management with a minor in psychology and a concentration in healthcare. Joy is being honored for this award because of her work ethic and determination that manifests in a readiness to support others. In addition to her rigorous academic pursuits, Joy serves as a resident assistant and is president of CWRU's Model United Nations team. Please listen in for further remarks about Joy and her achievements.
Hello, my name is Sharon Ehas. I'm a second-year PhD student in Weatherhead's Organizational Behavior Department. I had the pleasure of meeting Joy Mason last fall when I TA'd her ORBH 250 class. As a career military officer, I've had the honor to serve with many incredible people who have all had exceptionally high standards. I know work ethic and dedication when I see it. Joy immediately stood out in our class of 55 students as a person with ambition, drive, passion, dedication, and a desire to serve. Her contributions to class mirror the quality of her contributions outside of class. Resident assistant, Spartan ambassador, president of CWRU's Model United Nations, volunteer at university hospitals, 4-time national champion, and instructor of artistic roller skating. I do not know where she finds the time or energy to excel in all facets of her life, but she does. When I read the call for nominations, I immediately pictured Joy's face, her investment in others, her dedication to helping others, and her leading by example are inspiring. Without a doubt, Joy will be a person who changes the course of our world through the lives of individuals lucky enough to cross paths with her, as well as part of the world in general. She is a powerhouse for good, and I wish the world had more Joys in it. Congrats, Joy, on your selection for this Women of Achievement Award. You are so very deserving.
Hello, I'm Manoj Malhotra, the Dean of the Weatherhead School of Management at Case Western Reserve University. Joy Mason is a unique and talented undergraduate student we have here at Weatherhead School of Management. She has made the most of her individual story of being adopted from China, growing up in Mentor, and earning her education here in Cleveland. Joy is in her 4th year with us studying business management at Weatherhead with a minor in psychology and a concentration in healthcare. And if that's not enough to keep her busy, Joy remains very involved even outside of the classroom. She continues as a resident advisor and is committed to mentoring and supporting her peers. Joy is also the president of CWRU's Model United Nations team and a fellow for the Model UN program at the Cleveland Council on World Affairs. Additionally, Joy serves as president of the CWRU chapter of the National Residence Hall Honorary. As the programming chair of the Central Atlantic Regional Leadership Conference and participates in Alpha Phi Omega. Where does she find the time? This past summer, she participated in the 2021 Cleveland Clinic Leadership in Healthcare Internship Program for minority undergraduate students. During the school year, Joy will intern at the Cleveland Council on World Affairs. A fun fact about Joy: she was a competitive roller skater growing up and now provides lessons for young kids at her family's roller skating business. After all of these commitments and responsibilities, Joy will graduate in spring 2022 with a major in business management and a concentration in healthcare management. Joy, you're an impressive young woman with a very bright future ahead of you. We thank you for your shining example of the dedicated and talented students we have here at Weathered School of Management and Case Western Reserve University. I look forward to hearing more about your success in future endeavors. It is my pleasure now to present you with the 2021 Mather Student Spotlight Award this year. Congratulations on a well-deserved honor.
Hello, my name is Joy Mason. I am a fourth-year undergraduate student majoring in business management with a minor in psychology and a healthcare concentration. While Mentor, Ohio is my home, my time here at Crew is truly where I have grown up and begun to understand who I really am and what I'm meant to do in life. I originally came to Crew for the academics and their location among some of the best hospital systems in the country. 4 years ago, I could have never predicted that I would save for the people, experiences, and leadership opportunities. My path to where I am today has been quite the journey. The extremely short version is that after chasing a dream to be a surgeon for 16 years, I struggled through my first year of college and, with much guidance from my advisors, made a full 180 to the business side of healthcare. When my advisor pointed me in the direction of business, I later stopped and wondered why I had never considered business to be a path. Around the same time, the importance of representation began to step to the forefront of the media. I got to thinking that up until coming to college, I never really had an abundance of strong female leaders in my life that I truly looked up to, besides my amazing mom and a teacher in high school here and there. Although I did not particularly recognize this gap at the time, I understand now how important it is for everyone, especially children and young adults, to see themselves where they eventually want to be. To this day, one of the most impactful quotes I've ever heard is from Vice President Kamala Harris. She said, "Dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourself in a way that others may not, simply because they have never seen it before." I was grateful to have the opportunity this past summer to see others in a way I have never seen before. I was an administrative intern at the Cleveland Clinic as part of their Leadership in Healthcare program. This internship program is designed for underrepresented minorities in healthcare, and as such, I had an incredibly unique experience. The entire cohort of 6 interns was comprised of all females. Our internship directors, my preceptor, our supervisors were all female. Many of our guest lecturers were also female. I got to interact one-on-one with female chief executives from the clinic. While learning from them was an incredible experience, I kept hearing all of these women in leadership saying to each other, "Wow, when was the last time you were in a room with this many other women?" This struck me every single time, and this is when I realized that uplifting every woman is an inherent responsibility that we all share. While completing this internship has set me on the professional path that I'm on now, this internship experience also highlights one of my most proud accomplishments in college, which has been the development of my ability to self-reflect and be aware of those around me. Coming out of my internship, I made it a personal mission to make even more of an effort to uplift the women around me, not because they need my help, but because I realize that women often fight unseen battles that we no longer have to face alone. I am currently the president of 2 executive boards on campus. In total, 6 of the 9 other exec members whom I collaborate with are female. My job is to support all of the exec members, but I always keep it in the back of my mind to make sure that the female exec members never feel like they have to question the validity of who they are, what they're doing, and where they are going. My hope for the next generation of females is that their gender identity and unique intersectionality are seen only as assets and not as reasons for having to work any harder or prove anything to anyone. For me, receiving this recognition is about more than acknowledging the work I've done on campus in the last 3 years. Receiving this award has given me the fuel to continue fighting for equity for all, and especially for women. I would like to give a special thank you to all the powerful and uplifting women in my life, but especially my mom, Connie Mason, and my nominator for this award, Sharon Ehaz. Thank you for motivating me and showing me how to be an even better version of myself so that I can, in turn, help others. It is with great honor and pride that I accept this Mather Spotlight Award from the Flora Mather Center for Women. Thank you.
Hello, I am Provost and Executive Vice President Ben Vinson. I am delighted to be with you virtually to celebrate our 2021 Notable Women of the Year and all of the other amazing women who contribute so much to our university community. Biannually, the Women of Achievement Committee awards a notable Woman of the Year who supports the advancement of women and gender equity at Case Western Reserve University. This includes providing guidance, support, and visibility for the Flora Stone Mather Center for Women. This year's winner is a woman who performs those duties with strength, resilience, and courage. She is a wise leader with keen business acumen. She possesses enough expertise, savvy, power, and influence to meet any challenge. She is bold, she is bright, and she is a powerhouse supporter of women everywhere. I am pleased to have served as her nominator, and I am delighted to announce that the 2021 Notable Woman of the Year is Alexandria Johnson Boone. Alex is a nationally recognized businesswoman and community activist. She is president and CEO of Gap Communications Group, chairwoman and founder of the Women of Color Foundation, and founder of CL Magazine, a career and lifestyle digital magazine for women and girls of color. Under her leadership, Gap Communications has gained state and national recognition for its public relations and other services, and is now one of the most sought-after minority-owned firms in the state. Alex's Women of Color Foundation is working to create a more inclusive culture of women in leadership. In 2020, Dominion Energy selected the foundation as an awardee for its We Care Rebuild project, which designated millions to social justice and community rebuilding efforts across its 16-state footprint. The Women of Color Foundation received a $50,000 grant to establish the Black Women's Leadership Project, developing leaders, building communities. The program focuses specifically on Black women to provide training and support to accelerate their rise to senior and executive level positions in their fields. Among her many other roles, Alex is also a member of the Flora Stone Mather Center for Women Community Advisory Board and an active alumna of the Weatherhead School of Management. She has been a longtime supporter of the Mather Center for Women and of women across Case Western Reserve University. Please join me in congratulating Alexandria Johnson Boone on this well-deserved honor. Thank you.
I've had the pleasure for knowing Alex Boone for over 2 years now, and she has been a dedicated member of our community advisory board at the Mather Center. She has provided me so much support and guidance as an alumna of the institution, but also as a really accomplished woman in business in the greater Ohio area. I'm just so thrilled that we are honoring Alex for all of her accomplishments, supporting women of color through her foundation and magazine.
For as long as I've been paying attention to the professional women of our community, I have known Alexandria Johnson Boone. In 2017, I had the opportunity to meet and get to know Alex, and have since had the privilege of joining forces with her to support the Flora Stone Mather Center for Women on Case Western Reserve's campus. Alex is a thoughtful, intentional champion for empowering women. She talks the talk, she walks the walk. Through her work here, and with the Women of Color Foundation that she founded, Alex uses her network to connect women and push them along in their careers and in their professional development. She is a role model and inspires other role models to equally reach back and pull women forward. She strategizes with women individually and collectively to encourage their perseverance in spite of career and life challenges. And she does it with both wisdom and heart. I am so pleased Alex is receiving this recognition and honored to call her a friend.
Receiving this recognition means a lot to me because it's from my alma mater, and the Flora Stone Mather Center for Women has a very important part in my life. But coming from the Flora Stone Mather Center really kind of reinforces my passion that I'm doing the right thing in the right way at the right time for the right women. I remember when the Flora Stone Mather Center wasn't really a center. It was a program, and then all of a sudden, 20 years later, here they are, they have a beautiful office. So now we have a place to go, to talk, to share, to cry, to laugh, and to achieve. And there was a woman, Fifth Third Bank was a sponsor of one of our programs. And they called me and said, Alex, we really would like to bring this young woman who was recently released from prison. And we want to know, can we use one of our slots for her? And I was like, no, you can't. And they're like, no. I said, no, I'll give her a slot. So I gave her a slot. She came to the event, and it was at the Firestone Country Club, okay? And that was before women and people of color were really hanging around at Firestone, right? So afterwards, I mean, she came dressed in her Sunday best. She even had a hat on as if she was going to church. And I was like, okay, so she's got to reacclimate. She had just been released from the Ohio Reformatory for Women. And I get kind of emotional about this story, but she came. We made sure she had the same name badge as everybody else. She stayed the whole day. She was so excited she could hardly contain herself. And I made sure that I took pictures with her that day because I knew it was going to be in the newspaper, and I wanted her to feel proud about having been there. And later that week, I got a check with a thank you note in the mail. And she sent me a check for $10 and said, this is all I have, but if this will help you help another woman like you have helped me today, I want you to have it. And those are the kind of moments that you realize that what you're doing is the right thing. Receiving this award is really amazing for me because, as I mentioned, it validates the work that I've done, and that's really important. You think you're doing the right thing, but when somebody recognizes you at this level in this way, you know you're doing the right thing. But have I done enough? Because the legacy for me is not really about Alex Boone. It's about the Women of Color Foundation and about the women and girls that we were able to support and service and empower over a long period of time. If it wasn't for Joanne Clark, who took a chance on me, and the legacy that I was attempting to build, I don't know what would have happened. And I tell people, because so many of my friends who may be other than African American have said, well, you know, I just didn't really understand this whole privilege thing. And I remember Trina Evans, who was a dear friend and a major supporter of our foundation from Key Bank, said, you know, Alex, you know, I just never thought about this whole, you know, privilege and never expected a racial pandemic. She said, but let me just say this to you. If you can use my privilege, my access in a way to enhance your work, she said, I'll step up. Well, she didn't step up. She stepped all the way up. We have to exercise our voice and our votes if we want to see systemic change. I mean, we can have somebody promote a couple of us and we can play golf with a couple of people, but at the end of the day, what is the systemic change that's going to impact us now and those coming behind us? It's not about one moment, it's about the system and how the system views us and how we can change that system to view us in an equitable way. It is indeed a great pleasure to accept this award as the Notable Woman of the Year from the Flora Mather Center for Women and my alma mater, Case Western Reserve University. It means so much when you see a woman of color who's been out here for a long time on the front lines being recognized for what she's done, because you don't always know that people are looking, nor are you expecting them to be looking. But when you get something like this to happen in your life while you're alive, is very important. You know, my mom used to always say, give me my roses while I can still smell them. And this is an appropriate way for me to acknowledge how I feel about this award, because I'm here to see it. I'm here to receive it. And I'm so excited, I don't know what to do.